Hello students, welcome to Booster Brain classes. I am Shabana Hussain and I am your UGC NET mentor. So in this video today, we are going to discuss about the basic criteria to qualify your UGC NET exams, the syllabus of paper 1, and also with that I'll try to give you the strategy to cover your entire syllabus, the mark that you should target to qualify your UGC NET, and the resources that will help you to cover your syllabus and practice well for the exam. So let's start with the video. To start with, let's understand what is the criteria to qualify the UGC NET exam. So UGC NET exam is considered to be one of the most difficult exams that are conducted in the country. For this, it's only the 6th percentile of the students out of the total who appear for the test qualify the UGC NET exam. So the qualifying rate is just 6th percentile for UGC NET and it is 1 percentile for JRF. So keeping in mind the qualifying rate, now this 6th percentile is the overall 6th percentile. For example, if 10 lakh students are appearing for the test, so this 6th percentile is not specifically for your subject, it is the overall 6th percentile of the 10 lakh students. Alright, so this is why it becomes very difficult to crack UGC NET exam because there is massive competition. Now to score this cutoff, I'll also try to give you a standard breakup of both the papers, paper 1 and paper 2. What should be your safest mark? I'll try to give you a breakup of that as well. But before that, let's try to understand the syllabus of paper 1. As we all know that there are 10 units in the paper 1. So what I have tried to do here is I have tried to classify these 10 different units into 3 different categories. I have formed these categories based on the type of questions that NTA asks. So all these units are categorized under the 3 categories, and this I believe will help you in your approach as well. Because if you understand the kind of question, the approach that NTA wants you to have, it will be easy for you to start your preparations. So these 3 categories are the conceptual category, okay, the static category and the practical category. So in the conceptual category, we have very conceptual units. Now when I mean conceptual or concepts, it simply means very in-depth questioning. So NTA will ask in-depth question of the concepts that you get in teaching aptitude. We have research aptitude. These 2 units, mostly teaching and research, you get in-depth questions, alright. The next one that we have is a logical reasoning. Now what I do is I try to divide logical reasoning into 2 parts because I feel that one part is more of theoretical nature and it needs more of the concepts and understanding. The other part, it is more of practice. Even though you try to understand and get the concepts, you can only master that part when you practice very well. So here in the conceptual part, I'll simply mention part A, which is the theoretical part. And we have a very small and simple unit which is communication. It's a very easy unit. So I have placed it under the conceptual category because I feel if you can get the concepts of communication well, it's easy for us to remember it anyway. So we don't have to give much effort in memorizing the things of communication. Now let's move on to the static content. So the static unit basically is in people and development, higher education, and we have ICT as well. Now before moving on to the static unit, I have already mentioned the units. Before moving on to the static unit, I would also like to tell you something about the conceptual units like research aptitude and logical reasoning. See, these 2 units which is research and logical reasoning, NTA tests your concepts on the basis of examples. So they'll give you a lot of examples, lot of statement examples will be there, and they'll ask you what kind of research is that, or what is the pramana that is being followed here, what is the fallacy that comes here. So it's based on mostly examples. So you can understand how NTA uses different methods and tools to test your concepts. Now, moving on to the static units, we have people in development and higher education. See, people in development and higher education, most of the parts are static, meaning you have to memorize. It deals more with the facts and figures. So, there are lot of things you need to memorize, like you have the protocols, conventions, you even have the rankings in people and development, a lot more actually. Higher education, you have a lot of committees, the pre-independence committees, the post-independence committees. We have the Kothari Commission, which is an important topic for higher education. We have NEP 2020, which is also very important. So we have more important topics. What I do in people and development and higher education is we try to frame stories. Also, people and development, we have the goals, the SDG goals, the MDG goals. So you can understand how many things you have to memorize. The best way to memorize is try to make stories, all right. Next we have ICT. ICT is again divided into two parts, which is part A, because part B is for the practical category. Part A, again it is theoretical, but these things you have to memorize. It needs more of your memorization skills. Let's move on to the practical portion. So in the practical portion, we have DI, which is data interpretation. Now data interpretation and RC, which is reading comprehension. See, data interpretation is related to numbers, it is more of calculation, but reading comprehension, it is more about a paragraph and the questions that will relate to the paragraph. So you have to find the answer. So both these units I have placed under the practical category. Why? Because it needs more of your practice. Data interpretation, we get 5 questions which is fixed, and reading comprehension we get 5 questions which is fixed. So in total we have 10 questions. 10 questions meaning 20 marks, because each question carries 2 marks. So 20 marks are in your hands. So the more you practice, the more you can master these units. Lastly, we have the mathematical reasoning units. So even from the syllabus, there are just few topics which repeatedly which are being questioned in the exam. So even mathematical reasoning, it's a practical and a numerical kind of a unit. Apart from that, like I have already mentioned, LR and ICT. So the part B, which contains things that requires more practice. For ICT, it's the numerical part. For LR, we have mainly 3 portions, which is the syllogisms, the Venn diagram, and the square of opposition. So these 3 parts, it needs more of practice. We have 2 smaller categories, which are the moods and figures and distribution. Even this needs practice, but it is quite manageable. But the other 3 parts, syllogs, Venn diagrams, and square of opposition, it needs a lot of practice, especially square of opposition, because you get a lot of questions. Every paper and every shift will have at least 1 question or 2 questions from these topics. So LR also needs a lot of practice and understanding as well. With this, I have tried to simplify it and break down the syllabus into these 3 categories, and I hope it will help you in your preparation, because the more simplified manner you start your preparation, the more better will be the results. So with this, we are done with the criteria and we are done with the syllabus. Now let's move on and try to understand what can be your safest score. So the score that I'll share is a standard score. For few papers it might be higher, and for few it might go low, but this is the standard score that I feel you should target, because if you target this score, it's not just UGC net that you will be able to qualify, but the near about you can even get your JRF if you target this score. So the safest score which I feel and I suggest my student is 210. If you can target this 210 marks. Then for most of the papers, it's near about your JRF mark, alright. But for few papers, for very few papers, the UGC net cutoff goes even higher. So for 210 marks, how many questions do you need to answer? See, for not part A, it's paper 1 and paper 2. So paper 1 we get 50 questions. Paper 1 we have 50 questions. For paper 2 we have 100 questions. Now paper 1 it's of 2 marks. Per question is of 2 marks, and paper 2 per question is of 2 marks. So in total we have 300 marks. Alright. So 210 marks, it means 70%. So this is what I feel is the safest score. Now do get back to the website and check your cutoffs as well, because as I said, few papers might have a higher cutoff than 70%. So this is a standard one. You can add few number of more questions to it. So 70% mark and 210 marks. 210 marks means 105 questions, because it is 2 mark per question. So it's 105 question. Now see, if paper 1 you can keep it in the range 35 to 40. This is the minimum mark that I am telling you. It's not the maximum. Paper 2, then it goes to around how much? It is around 65 to 70 questions that you need to score in your paper 2, right? So this is the standard target that I have given you, that if you are scoring 35 questions, you have to score 70 questions in your paper 2. If you are scoring 40 questions in paper 1, you have to score a minimum of 65 questions in paper 2 to maintain this target. It can even go up to 45 questions in paper 1, so paper 2 will get down to 60 questions. You can add and you can even subtract depending on your cutoff, alright. This again I am repeating, it's a standard one. So I hope this target will help in your preparations. Anyways, given these targets, I also said that I'll let you know, or I will share some of the resources that you can follow for the respective units. So for the conceptual units, try to get deeper into the concept. So for the concepts, what you do initially is try to get hold of the kind of questions or the topics which are being targeted by NTA again and again. Alright, so if you are able to find out a list of these topics or the questions, then what you do is you can go deeper. So we have books like KVS Madan, we have Pearson, we have lot of other materials. See, the content is available. So everywhere over YouTube, over Google, over the internet, you'll get a lot of content. The thing is, how do you get hold of the proper content which helps you in your preparations? So try to get deeper, try to collect the concepts from these kind of resources, the vast resources that's available. For the static units, it's just get hold of the content. You have to memorize, you don't have to go deeper into the things. You have to get the facts and figures clear. NTA targets the facts and figures only. Maybe the names of few organizations, the names of agreements, the names of committees, the steps, the sequence kind of questions, alright. So it's basically facts and figures, so you can just go through it. And for the practical portion, you have to practice. So from where are you going to practice? The answer to all these three categories where you can get your content is the previous year paper. What you do is get hold of a very good application or a website where you can get the previous year papers, not just previous year papers. You have to attempt these exams. After attempting, you have to analyze these papers as well, because when you are analyzing these papers, alright, you get hold of the content which you might not come across when you are preparing and collecting your content topic wise. So these are the topics, or these are the content which NTA might target later in the exams. So keep on practicing the previous year questions. For the current affairs, what you can do is you can download our app, which is the Booster Brain app, where we provide current affairs for free. So go through the current affairs. Also the current affairs, make sure you just need people and development, higher education and ICT related current affairs. So you don't have to go through the entire current affair part. Just target these 3 units and go through the current affairs. You can also check our application and our website for the test series and the previous year papers that we provide. Do attempt the previous year papers. Do try to make an analysis of those papers and maintain a notebook of those analysis. So that will help you in your content building strategy. Apart from this, we will try to bring videos on each unit covering the most important topics and the repeated PYQs that were being asked in the previous exams. So do not miss those videos because that will be something which will help you and guide you in your preparations further. If you like today's video, do give us a thumbs up. Also share your comments and subscribe to our channel to stay updated. Thank you for watching.